Next Sunday, on a rainy day, it took a great play by Pruitt, shaking off a face mask tackle and reversing his field to gain a tie with San Diego. Certain defeat into sudden victory for the Browns. Now with the ball on the 19 and 1 minute 1 second showing on the clock, number 66, Gene Hickerson, playing in his final home game, delivered the block that sprung Greg Pruitt for the coup de grace. The 21-16 thriller was Pittsburgh's 9th consecutive loss in Cleveland and was the Browns' 3rd straight victory. It gave them a record of 7 wins, 3 losses, and a tie, and propelled them to within half a game of first place. Drafted to inject speed, the only question, his size. Yet, in his first season as a pro, he proved with his lightning feet and firefly moves, he could do it all. The muscular little man from Oklahoma excelled not only as a runner, but coming out of the backfield as a receiver, he showed sure hands. His finest day came in the big game with the Steelers. It was Pruitt's 2 touchdowns that beat them. As the heir apparent to Leroy Kelly, Greg Pruitt is the most exciting new talent in Cleveland in a long, long time. Spots too. In the second week of the season, 2 of the Browns' brightest young stars were showcased. It was Steve Holden by air and Greg Pruitt by land as Cleveland easily defeated vastly improved Houston.
Good snap. Kicks away. Pruitt got it on the 25. Beautiful block thrown by Carden. He's to the 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Pruitt to the 40. With a man to beat, he's down to the 30. Pruitt to the 20, 15 down to the 10. He's dropped down on the 4-yard line. Greg Pruitt with a magnificent return. The Browns are back in the ball game.
Oh my, in the last 6 minutes, it's all broken loose here.
Quarter, and Brian sight, along with a great return by Greg Pruitt, pulled them out. The Browns have upset the Denver Broncos. The final score, the Browns 23, the Broncos 21.
The young backfield of Holden, McGinnis, and Pruitt each scored once as a pro. Little Greg Pruitt came through when he was needed most. Pruitt's 61-yard return and a subsequent swing pass to him for 14 more put the Browns on the Chargers 6. Now with just 22 seconds left, Cleveland called a play designed to kill more time, so as an almost certain Cockcroft field goal would be the winner. Greg Pruitt continued what he began on the West Coast. On the opening kickoff, Pruitt floated patiently behind his blocking wedge, then burst free to go 88 yards for a touchdown against New England. Proved element of the team. By season's end, they were opening gaping holes for Pruitt, Hugh McGinnis, and Ken Brown. Upgrading of the ground game is essential next season, and further maturing from the forward wall will be needed to achieve that goal. With a combination of speed and power, missing in Cleveland since Gene Hickerson's heyday. One of the recipients of Adams' ability as a pulling guard was versatile Kenny Brown, number 30. While Brown and Pruitt depend on speed and quickness, Greg Pruitt was a marked man in 1974. The tattered jersey was his trademark as the Mighty Mite from Oklahoma became the Browns' chief offensive weapon. Pruitt was simply everywhere, scoring touchdowns, catching passes, and even throwing them. He brought the option pass back to the Browns' playbook, hitting 2 out of 2, each for a long touchdown. Pruitt led the team in punt returns and was the best in the American Conference in kickoffs. He also brought back the longest of the year. Altogether, the little scatback led or was second in 8 different offensive categories for the Browns. Next season, under Forrest Gregg, Pruitt will see even more action and will continue to not only fill the shoes of the great Leroy Kelly, but to challenge Bobby Mitchell as the most exciting open field runner in Cleveland history. The Cleveland Browns have long been something special in pro football, for no other franchise has won so often for so long. Until last year, the Browns managed to avoid the downward sweep of the pendulum that affects all teams. Now, after a dramatic turnover in personnel, hopefully the winds of change will thrust the Cleveland Browns toward a bright future to go with its proud past.
And Greg Pruitt, on a play that signaled the brilliant season he would have, ad-libbed the Browns' first touchdown of 1975. Replay for the first time. The winning touchdown was scored by Greg Pruitt, who, like a water bug slipping through the Cincinnati defense, totaled 304 yards this happy day. Beat a blitz by giving to Pruitt, who sailed untouched into the end zone with a winning score. The masterful 97-yard clutch drive gave Cleveland a stirring come-from-behind one-point victory over New Orleans. In every way belonged to Greg Pruitt. The little guy with the torn jersey trademark rocketed it through the Chiefs for 214 yards and 3 touchdowns. He became the first Cleveland runner to crack the 1,000-yard barrier since Leroy Kelly in 1968. In addition, Pruitt joined Jim Brown and Bobby Mitchell as the only Browns to gain over 200 yards in a single game. Pruitt's great performance earned him a standing ovation from the Cleveland crowd, and the glow from his accomplishments enveloped everyone, especially the Browns' young offensive line. There is no greater testimony to their development than Greg Pruitt's great season, which reached a crescendo this day against the Chiefs. The Cleveland offense totaled nearly 500 yards in the 40-14 waltz over Kansas City. And for the team and Forrest Gregg, it was a special feeling to be on the right side of a route.
Unlike Simpson or Otis, 185-pound Greg Pruitt is not built for heavy duty. Yet he carries the sole rushing load for the Cleveland Browns, who use him inside and outside like they did with Motley, Jim Brown, and Leroy Kelly. Against Kansas City, Pruitt rushed for 214 yards, scored 3 touchdowns, and went over the 1,000-yard mark. But more importantly, established himself firmly in the great tradition of Cleveland Brown running backs. Down deep, Pruitt's pick-a-hole style and explosive leg drive result in some easy-looking touchdowns. The Browns cannot afford to spot Pruitt like most teams do with their small backs. He is their sole star and seems to relish the wear and tear of multiple carries near the goal line. One small man, Greg Pruitt, whose baffling runs led Cleveland to a convincing 40-14 triumph.
Historically, the Browns have always been blessed with a super runner in their backfield. And Greg Pruitt joined the hallowed ranks of Marion Motley, Jim Brown, and Leroy Kelly with his great season. The muscular little man with the blinding speed raced for 1,067 yards on the ground and had an additional 700 yards on receptions and returns. In 1975, Greg Pruitt proved he is another in a long line of Cleveland super runners. sensational Greg Pruitt, with his straightaway speed and hairpin turns, is an exciting sight. A glittering showcase of talent in orange and brown.
With 26, the Browns had lost 3 straight, and it appeared 1976 would simply be a repeat of the previous losing season. Into the American Conference rushing lead by gaining a gaudy 191 yards and scoring 2 touchdowns. The Browns' yardage total on the ground was second best in Cleveland history. But more importantly, the win over Atlanta evened the team's record at 3-3.
Play of the week, not just one play, but 2, giving more recognition to a player who deserves it. 34, Greg Pruitt out of Oklahoma of the Cleveland Browns. Look at him tearing downfield right here. But as we said, this was only one of 2 that we're going to show you. All Greg Pruitt gained on the day was 191 yards, 586 on the year. Leads the AFC in rushing. Look at him squirt through that horde of would-be tacklers. Once again, he's loose. Once they said he was too small to play in the NFL. He led his team to victory, 20-17 over Atlanta. Greg Pruitt, the plays of the week.
Home against the Chargers, Pruitt, now the AFC leader in both rushing and receiving, continued to run rampant with 100 yards in the first quarter alone. Miller as a blocker par excellence for Greg Pruitt and a fine runner in his own right. Second consecutive 1,000-yard year was earned playing in great pain. For the final 7 games, Pruitt, with his torn jersey trademark, was virtually reduced to a one-legged halfback. But despite his battered ankles stinging with every step, he hung in to provide the solid football and spectacular excitement that is unique to the best little man in pro football.